And now we're going to transition over to something a little less fun to talk about, in my opinion, because I do think this is going to receive a lot of negative feedback if this ends up happening. This is kind of the exact opposite of what people want. We want 16-team tournaments instead of 12-team. And while I understand the reasoning behind something like this, I don't think it hits the mark like it's intended to. Luckily, nothing's been announced yet. Zin turned down the music. Bro, all you had to do was tell me, bro. You guys need to tell me how the levels sound so I know. The Call of Duty League is reportedly considering hosting one of its 2026 majors with just 8 teams instead of all 12, according to our sources. The CDL has been home to a 12-franchise team since its inception, though no one season has ever seen all 12 brands remain exactly the same. The opening season saw the likes of Royal Ravens, now Carolina, Paris Legion, now Riyadh Falcons, and Dallas Empire, now Optic Texas, making the league global. Oh, shit! Oh, shit, bless me. Making the league global with huge reported buy-in fees and on the back of consistent growth. Oh, that was a monumental sneeze. I need a sip of water after that. Guys, I would ask you if W or L about an 8-team major, but I already know how that's going to go. So I'm not even going to ask. I think from their perspective, they think having an 8-team major would make the qualifying stage that much more impactful and fun to watch. In the opening season, instead of majors, the league had homestand events where teams hosted 7 others in their home location, giving teams the chance to play on LAN across the world. This was a departure from the previous system of the Call of Duty World League, which had 32 teams and a large open bracket. And yo, you know, I don't know what's fucked is I know that some of you guys weren't even around for the CWL, man. Which is crazy to me. The CDL Major 2 UK event could be smaller. Whoa! According to our sources, the event in question would be Major 2, which has been reported to be hosted at the freshly announced Dreamhack Birmingham event at the end of March 2026. This is not the event to do it, if you're going to do it. This is not the event to do it, because what happens if some of the UK players don't qualify for this event? If true, it is due to be Call of Duty Esports' first return to the UK since 2020 in the league's inaugural season and just the second European event in that time span. At the time of writing, there has been no indication that another 8-team major will be introduced in the coming season. It has been pitched internally to teams as a test and pilot event. The reasoning provided was to create more consequential stakes and generate storylines for the qualifier matches. This would change the tournament from a 4-day major to a 3-day major and has been pitched as a true double elimination tournament. With no announcement yet made, this idea could be subject to change. However, we believe the schedule announcement video has already been recorded, which may indicate that a decision has already been made. Whoa. Okay, well, this basically says more than likely Dreamhack Birmingham will be an 8-team tournament instead of a 12-team tournament. And it'll be a true double elimination 8-team tournament. What do we think? Damn. 8 teams are the cheap teams. Hold on. I saw D-Real's tweet. Let me bring that up. Because I do think this is like something I wouldn't think of. Waffling and throwing hypotheticals, I could see it as a way to reduce logistical costs for teams who don't or can't field competitive rosters / bottom feeder teams. Seeing budgets with New York subliners, logistics for events contributed a very large part to operational costs league-wide, even with diligent spend. So D-Real is saying that some teams might actually be in favor of this because the teams that don't want to pay to field more competitive rosters wouldn't want to spend the money to go to some tournaments, which is a very, 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 very sad precedent to set if this is the way some of the teams are thinking. And it just makes me feel like some teams are going backwards while some teams continue to carry the torch and continue to put the best foot forward. If you can't fly to an event and just leave the league, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Why not sell your spot if you don't want to build a competitive team? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is upsetting as someone that's a big proponent for competitive Call of Duty to see something like this and to think about the fact that some teams actually might be thinking this way. That they'd rather have an 8-team tournament that their team is not at to save money on costs of trap. Like, that to me is a mind-boggling thought, and I really hope this isn't the way some of these teams are thinking. Why won't they add more teams to the league? Listen, I don't know the answers to a lot of these questions. I'm not sure if there are more teams that want to come in. I do think... See, I don't know, man, because I do have to play devil's advocate a little bit. Obviously, teams don't want to burn money. Like, teams also want to create a profit. They want to drive revenue. And of course, that comes with building content and having players where you want to buy that team's jersey and watch their content and all that. But esports teams struggle a lot. Like, if you think about traditional sports, all of those teams make so much money, partly due to the exclusive TV deals. Like, those TV deals pay a fuck ton of money. Call of Duty, it's free to watch. There's no pay-per-view. There's no paywall. And while I personally would love to see it on Twitch and YouTube and whatever streaming I would love Call of Duty streamed to every single platform. But the thing is, let's use YouTube, for example. The YouTube exclusivity drives at least some revenue for some of these teams. So while it sucks if you want to watch on Twitch, it's very helpful for teams that want to drive a profit and create revenue. But I don't know, right? I think teams need to make money, but I also think they should be trying to field competitive rosters and should be able to fly their team to 6 events a year without worrying about things like this. You should not be a Call of Duty League team in support of an 8-team tournament because you don't want to send your team to that tournament. That is fucking absurd, in my opinion. Absurd. Like, absurd. It's one thing if you want to see how an 8-team tournament works because you think it's going to make the qualifying matches more fun to watch and more exciting. It adds higher stakes to the league and you want to see it trialed. Okay. But if your reason is that you don't want to pay for travel, that to me is crazy. The rewind feature on YouTube is so big. I think ideally, in a perfect world, Call of Duty is streamed on Twitch and YouTube, and you guys can pick. What do you guys think? I think we should refresh Reddit because I do think today's going to be a big day for Reddit. Let's actually start from the bottom here. Oh, I thought that was like an actual silhouette of a... Actually, here, let's see, because we're talking about this, let's see what the comments are saying about this. I'm assuming they're all negative. In his article, it says it will be an 11-match online split and then 8-team major. Who is making these decisions? One team's chances of champs could be seriously hurt by this bullshit. The people who stand to make more money by spending less on events. Vaporize with a tier 1 for 11 months. Almost that 1-year anniversary. Vaporize, welcome back to Zin City Chat. If any of you guys have an unused Prime, once again, I nominate myself because Tiff makes all my emotes, and they're great. And you support Tiff as well when you subscribe to me. And you get ad-free viewing. I'm pretty sure it's got to be Dreamhack Major 2 in Birmingham, as this is scheduled for March 22nd through 29th, which is only 3 days instead of usual 4. But why don't, okay, if it's only 3 days, we can't do the 16 team? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not proud of this. I feel like I'm going to talk in circles about it, but I think they already trialed this, and if I can remember, they call it champs, but I think Jake Maverick put it best. We want more teams, we want expansion, and we want open bracket tournaments. CDL, bet. Let's run a tournament with only 8 teams. If they do 8-team, at least do a Swiss stage first, then playoff bracket, please. Yeah, see, oh man, that's just going to be a very negative post, which I completely understand, but let's try to keep things positive today. We received a lot of good information. The league doesn't care, bro. End of story. Okay, no, I don't think that's true. I think the league obviously cares. I just think that sometimes maybe they think they know better, or they want to try certain things that, bro, we all grew up on competitive Call of Duty, or at least a lot of us. And we all just want to see the basics that helped Call of Duty succeed as we grew up.